Hey guys, M.K.S here, back at you with another video. I know I've loaded quite a few in quick succession, but I thought wanted to get this bucket list done. So I decided to do a bucket list video, but I can't remember if I've done one already, but if I have, this is hopefully going to be different to the last. It may well be the first one anyway, but I might make a few different ones and think about any goals that would have changed or more idealistic. Like on Fridays I like to do like really dream big and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I'll try and get on with a list of my bucket list. Um, so number one, I would like to visit as many parts or tour as many parts of what I call the four as possible, which are indigenous people or places and communities, places of indigenous people across Australasia, Africa, the Americas, and Asia, and support them to create their own centres, training centres, and fundraise for them and things like that. And that includes Aboriginal centres in Australasia, Maori centres, and things like that, and across Africa and the Americas, Indigenous communities to have their own centres and support their businesses and things like that as much as possible. And again, in Asia, and I've been to one Aboriginal centre when I went to Australia, specifically. I think that was 2014 or 2015, something like that. Anyway, so I really wanted to help them, and I had the chance to visit them. So I hope to do that more, and also like help them to set their own centres, which could be like training centres as well as tourism centres, which really help them in the longer run to sell things and improve their lives, and even support them in YouTube and other such areas. Again, Aborigines, Maoris, people from Africa, Indigenous Africans, Arabs, people from the Americas, Indigenous or Native Americans, Indigenous people too, all over Asia, especially places like Iraq and Vietnam. Obviously, if it's safe to go there, or I might have to take a risk. And I'd love to have like NGOs. I'd encourage those places to make themselves as peaceful as possible, so that can increase tourism, so peace can lead to prosperity in that way. Anyway, moving on. Number two, I hope to when I visit these places, all being well in the future, as many of them as possible, I hope specifically to tour the place which I've talked about helping. Sorry, my foot's still a bit, or feels a bit strange or sore, so it made me feel a bit weird. But anyway, to support like slums, orphanages, and places like that, and again, like special ed schools, like schools for dyslexics or autistics, people with dyspraxia, ADHD, and so on and so forth. Being special myself, so to speak, and like sort of, I'm not a qualified teacher or anything like that, but I don't have many qualifications. I have a few kind of qualifications, but I'm not really much of an academic person. I've never really went into teaching or that, but I'd love to be able to teach like stuff that's not necessarily on the curriculum. I'd also to play football with them and things like that, but also to talk about things like famous people with dyslexia, famous autistics, or people with what strengths autistic people have. So hopefully that will inspire them and all that sort of thing. And again, similar with ADHD and so forth. And also to help people from slums and orphanages to set up their own businesses and things like that. And again, spread positivity, peace, love, joy, and all that good stuff. And maybe as well go with like NGOs and possibly dyslexic people who could be mentors, people with ADHD and autism as well, who could travel and be mentors, who want to support fellow neurodiverse people, to put it simply, around the world. So that would be pretty cool. And maybe like Indigenous Australasians and Native Americans could find out about dyslexia and maybe see if people in their community perhaps have dyslexia but haven't been tested for dyslexia perhaps. But they could perhaps find out some of the strengths of dyslexics and how that could help them in the future. Number three, I generally like to take footballs over to those places and stationery, and normally I like to keep the stationery to write on for myself, but especially lined paper and all that. But some I might give away, and some like with my ideas on if they can read my writing and all that sort of stuff. But as I've talked before about plain papers and things like that, I hope to give as many away as possible. Number four, I hope to promote peace and perhaps encourage consumers and lobbyist groups to make peace pay. So I think if peace became more profitable, a lot of companies and organisations would want to seek peace, because I think unfortunately a lot of people profit from war, so they don't have as much incentive to see peace, which to me is quite a bloodthirsty way to make money. But if peace paid, I think you'd see how quickly the world would be at peace. And I especially hope for Asian and African nations to work together and stop any conflicts as much as possible, and look at ways to make peace and things like that. And maybe again set up NGOs and charities, and that sort of thing. Like I even thought, to be honest, I even thought of a Christian charity. I'm not really that religious, but I thought of a potential charity which could be called Swords into Plowshares, which comes from a biblical teaching about the world being more peaceful. But unfortunately, I think there's going to be a lot more wars before that happens. I hope I'm wrong. But anyway, so looking at how to make peace and bring people together, build bridges and things like that. Number 5, hope to network with other people to share potential ideas or goals. Again, they might have ideas that I don't have about how to help people, especially in developing countries and things like that. And again, they might have strengths that can help more. And like, again, they could advise me on things I might not have thought about. Number 6, as ever, I hope to do the best I can and make the best use of each day and see who I can help and how I can help them, how I can keep myself going and how I can encourage other people to do the same. Like people in Africa to train in technology every day, for at least an hour or as many hours as possible, and dare I say even parents to encourage their children to study tech or learn about tech, not just academically, but in any way that helps them to learn, and possibly that how can I put it, like to not call them or anything like that, like just to let them have that time without any distractions or disturbances, just to study and focus on that. When I say study, I'm using the term loosely. I'm not talking in an academic sense necessarily, but learn as much as they can about tech, so they're actually going to hopefully use it in the future, either for a job or to create their own business or something like that. Number 7, again, hope to like work on these goals and like when the weather's nice, enjoy going for walks and things like that as well. So and perhaps appreciate things I have, like my health, and hopefully Godspeed, my health will be as good as possible and things like that. 8, I'd love to be more positive about life, so I hope I'll find one way to do that as well. And I think these charitable ideas I have, again, it goes to something biblical perhaps, which is like it's better to give than receive. So I've been really depressed or suicidal in the past, so sometimes even today I question whether life's worth it or not. And I think when I try and help other people, it makes me feel better. And also when people say you have value and things like that, so a few things have helped me in that way. So I think helping other people and encouraging other people who are going through a hard time to do that, it gives you a sense of achievement and makes you feel better. So in a funny way, it kind of empowers you by empowering others perhaps. And hopefully I'd hope to avoid distractions as well. Number 9, I hope to prioritize as best I can and start and plan and prioritize better than I normally do and be more organized. And also, as I said before, to avoid distractions and things like that, and maybe even like and to give art stuff away and things like that, stationery that where people in Asia and places like that can use it for their art and things like that. And also maybe I know I have learning disabilities and all that, but maybe one day learn to live independently, perhaps, maybe. That could be a goal to work towards, but I haven't really set a date for that. But it'll be difficult, but hopefully I might be able to find a way. You never know if I push myself. And just trying to think what else I was going to say. Sorry. Number 10, again, to help the youth and the poorest 10% people of all possible countries. And I hope to like leave in my will. This might be a morbid way of saying it, but a morbid thing to think about. And I know that a bucket list really is quite morbid anyway, I suppose you could say. But I suppose you're planning for the future, or you're planning to make the most of your life. But I was saying, like, my body, I'd like to donate to science. So I'd like to help scientists in Africa and Asia and those places I talked about to use it for science, rather than be buried or cremated or anything like that. I'd rather like go to science and they make the best use of it, as long as they make sure I'm not actually alive, because I don't feel pain. But and also like all my possessions and things like that, hopefully with my family's blessing, or for them to support me to actually like all my notebooks and in money, clothes and everything else that could be used could be donated to what I call the four, to help them as much as possible. So like kind of belong to them and help them to. I also hope to connect those what I call the four to work together as well. So I'd love to know what you think about that, and as ever, any points, any ideas or thoughts generally, and whether you think I was being naive or what points you found least least good and most good, if you know what I mean, or your worst and your best points. I think that covers everything. Peace and love.